One thing I passionately disagree with him about is guns. And most people in Britain, I think, would share my view of that. We're a gun-free country in many ways. The front page of the New York Daily News yesterday was very striking because it combined two big news events. They do royal weddings, we do school kids' funerals. And this followed the latest massacre in a school in Santa Fe. 10 children were killed and 10 more wounded. The gun culture in America is so alien to most people in this country. But what is particularly alien is that there seem to be so many school shootings. We've now had more than 200 since Sandy Hook alone. And yet nothing ever seems to get done to try and stop them happening. What is your view of this?
Well, Piers, I think you bring up, it's foreign to this country, and it's, you know, they've tried to do it in New York. I think locally in New York, the Sullivan Act and all that has had some impact in New York. But it is part of our culture. It is part of our right in the Second Amendment to carry guns. It's something, there's a robust debate in every one of these 200 cases. There's robust debate on what we should do and how to do it. And
but nothing ever gets done.
Nothing has seemingly gotten done that's prevented it from happening. And that's something we're going to just have to live with and try to address in the future.
The Houston Police Chief, Art Acevedo, said, "I know some have strong feelings about gun rights, but I want you to know I've hit rock bottom. I'm not interested in your views as it pertains to this issue. Please do not post anything about guns aren't the problem. There's little we can do. This isn't a time for prayers and study and inaction. It's a time for prayers, action, and the asking of God's forgiveness for our inaction." I mean, that's a police chief, not far away.
Right.
In Texas, which is a big gun state.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if you're the parent of one of those children that was massacred, I would have the same feeling.
But why not? Then President Trump has talked about making change, but there hasn't been that change, and yet the school shootings continue.
One of those, it's difficult to put into words, particularly having such a fresh experience with the tragedy. What the culture means. It's not a violent culture, but it's a part of the American system right now with the Second Amendment and the long history of gun ownership for the various reasons the Founding Fathers put it in. So I think we're going to have to do a better job, that's for sure. I know the president is trying to figure out how we can do a better job. And if there's a way for him to do something, I know he'll do it.
You've got a new embassy we've been reading about.
Yes.
The president wasn't happy about the move.
Battersea's great. I like it.
Do you think he'll come to the embassy when he comes over, or do you think he'll...
He refused to
hold his nose and stay away?
Yeah, his agenda is not fully formed yet. He's got to get... I mean, he's working on some other things in Singapore and elsewhere. But when that's, we'll see what it looks like.
Anyone who works for the administration in any way, be you Secretary of State, U.S. Ambassador, whatever it may be, do you all wake up fearing what will happen when he hits his Twitter feed?
Not really, no. I mean, I enjoy describing and not defending, because the president certainly doesn't need my defense, but explaining where he's going. With his Twitter and with his the way he's leading the country.
Do you always know where he's going with it?
Pretty much. You know, he's had a lot of the views regarding trade and regarding international relations and regarding domestic policy as well for many years. And he's described it publicly on Oprah and other shows, you know, for 30 years. So not exactly where he's going, but I think that with a president like Donald Trump, you're going to get a lot of change, and that's going to make a lot of people anxious and concerned. From
a purely personal point of view, Ambassador, you're living in a glorious home, Winfield House, which is the home of the U.S. Ambassador. Stunning, sort of monument to British heritage and a dash of American. I presume we'll be throwing a big old hoolie for the president when he comes over. Any chance of... I didn't get invited to the royal wedding, but can we put a marker down now? I mean,
I think that's a good question.
I haven't heard a good answer, Ambassador.
That's why he's a diplomat and you're not. Great to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much for coming, Ambassador.
Great to see you.
We greatly appreciate it.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Well, fingers crossed. I can only hope.